$18,600,000,000,000. That is the total net worth of American households right now. To put that in perspective, if you stacked that in $100 bills, it would reach past the sun. And the financial media loves to scream that number at you. American wealth hits record highs. The average net worth is through the roof. According to the headlines, everyone is living like a king. But then you close the article. You put your phone down. You look at your own checking account. Maybe you have got $800 in there until next Friday. Maybe you have got a credit card bill that has been staring at you since last Christmas. And that quiet, uncomfortable thought creeps in. If the country is this rich, why does your personal bank account feel so empty? Because the truth is, we are using the wrong map. We call everyone a millionaire. We lump the person living paycheck to paycheck in a paid-off shack with the person who owns 3 private jets. That is a lie. Today, we are burning that old map. We are going to break down the real 8 levels of wealth in America. Not the fantasy net worth you see on a calculator, but the actual cold, hard reality of how much cash you need to have to truly move up a level. And by the end of this, you are going to see exactly which level you are trapped in, and exactly what it takes to climb to the next one. Let us start at the very bottom, the floor. Level 1 is financial insolvencies. This is technically negative wealth. This is where the math tells you that you are worth less than $0. According to the Federal Reserve, the bottom 20% of earners in America actually have a negative net worth. How does that happen? Simple. You owe more than you own. Maybe you have got a student loan for $50,000, a car loan for $15,000, and credit card debt for $8,000. But your bank account has $600, and your old laptop is worth $200. You are underwater. You are not on the wealth ladder. You are digging a hole under it. If this is you, the goal is not investing. The goal is survival. The goal is stopping the bleeding. You cannot build a house on a swamp. You have to drain the swamp first. Do not worry about stocks. Worry about the interest rate on that credit card. Because at level 1, every dollar you earn already belongs to someone else. Level 2 is financial stability. At this level, you are no longer negative, but you are not comfortable. This is the land of the 0.00. You have just enough assets to cover your debts. Your net worth is technically 0 or slightly positive. You have maybe $3,000 in the bank, and you owe $2,000 on a credit card. Net worth? $1,000. Positive. Technically wealthy on a spreadsheet. But here is the reality. 1 broken fridge, 1 flat tire, 1 trip to the emergency room, and you are back down to level 1 immediately. You are walking a tightrope without a net. The defining feature of level 2 is the anxiety. You are not poor enough for government help, but you are too broke to fix your car. The financial industry ignores you. They want to sell you mutual funds. They do not want to talk to you about your $500 emergency funds. To get out of level 2, you need cash. Pure, boring, liquid cash. You need to save $1,000, then $2,000. Build a wall between you and the world. Level 3 is the illusion of wealth. Now we get to the dangerous level. This is where the majority of middle-class millionaires live. At level 3, your net worth looks good on paper, but you cannot spend a dime of it. How? Housing. Let us say you bought a house in Austin, Texas for $300,000 10 years ago. Today, that house is worth $650,000. On paper, you just made $350,000. On the UBS report, you are a millionaire now. You have the house, plus a small retirement account. But let me describe your Tuesday night. You are sitting at the kitchen table with a calculator. The property tax bill just arrives. $8,000. The roof is leaking. The water heater just died. You cannot sell the house because you have to live there. You cannot move because interest rates are too high. Your wealth is locked inside the drywall. You are what smart economists call house rich, cash poor. Your net worth says Ferrari. Your checking account says bicycle. Level 3 is a trap. It feels like success until you actually need money. To break out of level 3, you have to stop looking at your Zillow estimate and start looking at your brokerage account. Level 4 is financial secures. Now we are getting into the real data. Level 4 is the first level that actually feels like wealth. At this level, you have liquidity. You have cash. Specifically, level 4 means you have at least 6 months of expenses saved in a high-yield savings account, and you have 0 high-interest debt. Let us put real numbers on it. The average household spends about $6,000 a month. So level 4 means you have roughly $36,000 sitting in cash. Not invested, not at risk. Just sitting there. This is the emergency fund. This is the go screw yourself money. If you lose your job at level 4, you do not panic. You have 6 months to find a new one. If the car explodes, you write a check. The psychological shift at level 4 is massive. You stop living in fight or flight mode. You start thinking long terms. But here is the painful truth. According to Bankrate, only about 44% of Americans could cover a $1,000 emergency from savings. That means more than half of the country lives below level 4. If you have a fully funded emergency fund, you are already ahead of most people. Level 5 is the accumulators. At level 5, you have stopped worrying about survival and started worrying about growth. Level 5 is defined by the investment account. This is where you have maxed out your Roth IRA. This is where you are getting your full 401k match from your employers. We are talking about a net worth between $250,000 and $1 million. But here is the critical distinction. Unlike level 3, most of this wealth is not in your house. It is in the stock market, it is in index funds, it is in ETFs. The accumulator knows that time is their best friend. They understand compound interest. If you are 25 years old and you have $50,000 invested, you are probably on track. If you are 45 and you have $400,000 invested, you are in level 5s. The habit that defines level 5 is automation. They do not try to time the market. They set up an automatic transfer every 2 weeks. $400 goes into the brokerage account, whether the market is up or down. They treat investing like a utility bill. You do not skip it, you just pay it. According to Vanguard, the average 401k balance for people in their 40s is about $145,000. That is level 5 territory. It is not yachts, it is not private jets, it is just discipline. Level 6 is the millionaire next door. This is the real millionaire. Not the fake one from level 3 who lives in a mansion and eats ramen noodles. The real one. At level 6, you have a net worth of $1 million or more, but crucially, that million is investable assets. Remember the UBS report for Canada? When you strip out the house, the number of millionaires dropped by 80%. Level 6 is the 20%. You have $1 million in stocks, bonds, cash, and business equity. Your house might be paid off, or it might not be. But you do not count the house to get to the millions. Who is this person? According to the Spectrum Group, the average millionaire next door is in their early 60s. They drive a Toyota, not a Lamborghini. They live in a normal suburb. They got rich through boring things. Consistent budgeting, avoiding debt, buying index funds for 30 years. Let me give you the math. If you invest $1,000 a month into the S&P 500, which historically returns about 10%, you will hit $1 million in roughly 25 years. It is not a lottery ticket. It is a slow, boring winning march. The difference between level 5 and level 6 is time. Level 6 just kept going for 5 or 10 more years. Level 7 is lifestyle wealths. Now we are getting into the top 1%. Level 7 is not a number you look at on a screen. Level 7 is a number that produces income without you working. This is usually between $3 million and $10 million in liquid assets. At level 7, you can stop trading your time for money. The classic rule is the 4% withdrawal rate. If you have $5 million invested, you can safely withdraw $200,000 a year without ever touching the principal. You could never work another day in your life, and you would still make more money than the average doctors. At level 7, you start buying luxuries. But smart level 7 people buy assets that produce more cash. You buy a rental property, you buy a small business, you buy a stake in a private company. Fidelity reports that the average 401k balance for the top 1% is over $2 million. Add a brokerage account and home equity, and you are solidly in level 7. This is the level where money stops being about survival and starts being about leverage. Level 8 is absolute freedom. This is the final boss. This is over $10 million in liquid, investable assets. At this level, money is a concept. You are not trying to grow it for retirement. You are trying to preserve it for generations. At level 8, you do not check prices at restaurants. You do not look at the cost of a first-class ticket. You fly private. You have a family office. The question at level 8 is not, can I afford this? The question is, do I want this? According to the Fed, there are roughly 1.2 million households in America at this level. That sounds like a lot, but it is less than 1% of the population. The difference between level 7 and level 8 is legacy. Level 7 buys a vacation home. Level 8 buys a hospital wing. And here is the secret that the rich know. The jump from level 6 to level 7 is not about working harder. It is about ownership. At level 8, you own equity in things that do not require your physical presence. You own a portfolio of businesses. You own real estate syndications. You own intellectual property. And finally, let us bring this back down to earth. We started with $18 trillion. We talked about the 8 levels. We talked about house-rich illusions and liquid realities. So what is the point? The point is this. Stop comparing your checking account to the national average. Stop looking at your neighbor's new cars. The 8 levels are a ladder. You do not leap from level 1 to level 8 overnight. You just need to move up one single rung. If you are at level 1 drowning in debt, your only job is to get to level 2. Save $1,000. If you are at level 3, trapped in a house that owns you, your only job is to get to level 4. Build the emergency fund outside the drywalls. If you are at level 5, the accumulator, keep going. Do not cash out when the market dips. Do not buy the expensive car. Stay boring until you hit level 6. The difference between the person who stays poor and the person who becomes free is almost never luck. It is knowing the rules. It is knowing that $1 million in home equity is not the same as $1 million in cash. It is knowing that you have to climb the levels in orders. So look at your life. Look at your bank account. Look at your debt. Which number between 1 and 8 are you right now? Be honest. Because you cannot change the number until you admit what the number is. If you want to climb the next level, hit subscribe. I will see you on the ladder.